We are asked to solve the given equation using the construction and deconstruct story. Let's begin with the construction story, which means we begin with the variable p and then list the operations that create the given equation. Looking at this first term, notice how we have 3p in the numerator, which means 3 times p, and therefore the first step in the construction story is multiply by 3. If we multiply p by 3, it's really p times 3, but due to the commutative property of multiplication, p times 3 is equal to 3 times p, which gives us the expression 3p. And a fraction bar means division, so this is 3p divided by 4. The next step in the construction story is divide this product by 4, or just divide by 4. So if we divide 3p by 4, we now have the expression 3p divided by 4. And then finally on the left side of the equation, we have 3p divided by 4 plus 7/8, which means the next step is to take this quotient and add 7/8. So step 3, we add 7/8. Adding 7/8 to this quotient gives us the expression on the left side of the equation, which is 3p divided by 4 plus 7/8. And because this expression is equal to 1/2, we can say the result of performing these operations is 1/2, which gives us our equation 3p divided by 4 plus 7/8 equals 1/2. And now we need to give the steps of the deconstruct story, which are the steps that will undo the construction story and solve the given equation for p. To get the steps of the deconstruct story, we reverse the order of these steps, and for each step we perform the opposite operation, or the operation that will undo the stated operation. The last step in the construction story is add 7/8. The operation that will undo adding 7/8 is to subtract 7/8. So step 1 of the deconstruct story is subtract 7/8. The previous step in the construction story was divide by 4. To undo dividing by 4, or the opposite operation of dividing by 4, is to multiply by 4, which is the second step of the deconstruct story. The first step in the construction story is multiply by 3. The operation that will undo multiplying by 3 is to divide by 3, which gives us the last step in the deconstruct story. Now we will perform these 3 steps on the given equation to solve the equation for p. Beginning with the given equation, step 1, we subtract 7/8 on both sides of the equation. Simplifying on the left side, plus 7/8 minus 7/8 simplifies to 0. We now have 3p divided by 4 equals, let's go ahead and find this difference down here. We have 1/2 minus 7/8. The least common denominator is 8, which means you need to multiply the numerator and denominator of 1/2 by 4. This gives us 4/8 minus 7/8, which is equal to negative 3/8. So the left side of the equation is now negative 3/8. Step 2 in the deconstruct story is to multiply both sides by 4. So you multiply the left side by 4 and the right side by 4. If it's helpful, we can write 4 as 4 over 1, since both the left and right side of the equation are fractions. Looking at the left side of the equation, simplifying before multiplying, 4 divided by 4 simplifies to 1. The left side simplifies to 3p. On the right side, notice 4 and 8 share a common factor of 4. There's 1 4 and 4 and 2 4s and 8. Now multiplying, we have negative 3/2. And the last step in the deconstruct story is to divide by 3. But for this equation, because we have a fraction on the right side of the equation, it might be helpful to recognize that dividing by 3 is the same as multiplying by 1/3. So let's go ahead and multiply both sides of the equation by 1/3, which is equivalent to dividing by 3. Again, the reason for this is because the right side of the equation is a fraction. 1/3 times 3, or 1/3 times 3 over 1, is equal to 1. 1 times p is p. On the right side of the equation, notice here we have a common factor of 3. There's 1, 3, and 3 here and here. Multiplying, we now have negative 1 over 2, or negative 1/2. P equals negative 1/2 is the solution to the given equation, which means if we substitute negative 1/2 for p in the equation, it will satisfy the equation. For this example, let's check this on the graphing calculator. Substituting negative 1/2 for p in the equation, we would have 3 times negative 1/2, so negative 1 divided by 2. Notice how the negative 1/2 is in parentheses, and this is divided by 4. And then we have plus 7/8, 7 divided by 8. Enter, which notice how is equal to 0.5, which is 1/2. To convert this decimal to a fraction, we can always press Math, Enter, Enter. I hope you found this helpful.